it.
No, I'm saying that these are reports, Director Patel.
No,
And
unlike
I
your
will
baseless
say,
reports,
Director
the only person
Patel,
that was slinging margaritas in El Salvador on the taxpayer dollar with a convicted gangbanging rapist was you.
You know, the
only
fact
person that
of
ran up a
Director
$7,000 bar tab in Washington, D.C. at the
This
lobby bar
suggests to me-
was you.
What you just watched is Kash Patel, the director of the Federal Bureau of Investigation, sitting before the United States Senate and trying to get out of answering a question about his own conduct by attacking the senator asking it. And I want to share my honest take on what happens here, because this one got to me. The real question underneath all of this is not about margaritas or bar tabs. It is about whether the person running the most powerful law enforcement agency in the country is actually accountable to anybody. Drop your thoughts in the comments. I want to know where you stand on this before we even get started. All right, let's get into it.
Director Sakata, you hold a position of public trust. You agree that you should lead by example and be held to at least the same standard of conduct as you expect of ATF agents.
Yes, sir.
And would you agree that if one of your agents was unable to perform his or her duties because of excessive drinking, you would need to take corrective action or disciplinary measures?
Yes, sir.
Director Seralta, same question for you with respect to the U.S. Marshal Service. Do you agree with the responses from Director Sakata?
Ranking Member Van Hollen, that would be correct. I would do that after a thorough investigation by our internal affairs.
Administrator Cole, same question to you with respect to the DEA.
Yes, sir. I would echo what Rod and Gaddy have said. After a thorough review by our OPR, Office of Professional Responsibility, yes, sir.
Director Patel, do you agree with these three gentlemen? As
Yes, sir.
The FBI. So you agree, Director Patel, that if one of your agents was unable to perform his or her duties because of excessive drinking, you would need to take corrective or disciplinary action. You agree with that statement?
We would implement the inspection review process, just like these other agencies have their own internal investigations, and complete that review.
As I said in my opening remarks, I really don't care about your personal life so long as you are able to perform your public and official responsibilities, which are awesome responsibilities. Multiple reports, including reporting by The Atlantic, have alleged episodes of excessive drinking, unexplained absences, and behavior that concern current and former FBI and DOJ officials. You have publicly denied those allegations and filed a defamation lawsuit. So today, as you testify before Congress, is it your testimony that those allegations are categorically false?
Unequivocally, categorically false.
So here is what Van Hollen just did, and you need to see the architecture of it because it is genuinely well constructed. He does not walk up to Kash Patel and say, "I think you have a drinking problem." He would lose that immediately because Patel would just deny it, and that is where it ends. Instead, he goes to each of the other directors one by one and gets them on the record. Yes, an agent who cannot perform their duties because of excessive drinking should face corrective action. He gets Sakata, he gets Seralto, he gets Cole. All three say yes. All three do it on camera. And then he turns to Patel. And here is the thing. Patel does not say yes. He does not say, absolutely, same standard applies to me. He introduces a review process. He adds conditions. He pivots to institutional language. And Van Hollen notices. Everyone watching notices because the other three directors sat in the same chair and just said yes, and Patel is the only one who could not. That is not a dismissal of the allegations yet. That is just round one. And what you have to ask yourself going into round two is, why was that the harder question for him?
So there have been no occasions during your tenure when FBI personnel were unable to promptly reach you?
Absolutely not. You can ask my entire workforce. They hear from me at every single hour of the day, as do these great gentlemen here, as do the men and women of the interagency and state and local law enforcement and the White House.
And so there have been no occasions when your security detail had difficulty waking or locating you, is that right?
Nope, it's a total farce. I don't even know where you get this stuff, but it doesn't make it credible because you say so.
I'm not saying it, Director Patel. It's been written and documented.
You are literally saying it.
No, I'm saying that these are reports, Director Patel.
No,
and
unlike
I
your
will
baseless
say,
reports,
Director
the only person that
Patel-
was slinging margaritas in El Salvador on the taxpayer dollar with a convicted gangbanging rapist was you.
You know, the
only
fact
person that
of
ran up a
Director
$7,000 bar tab in Washington, D.C. at
This
the lobby bar
suggests to me-
was you. So
this
the only
suggests
individual in
to
this
me
room
the
that
allegations
has
are
been drinking on
true.
taxpayer dime during
Are
the day
you polygraphing?
is you.
Director Patel, come on. These are serious allegations that were made against you. They're
The
in a
allegations
lawsuit
are
that you
false.
filed.
You drinking margaritas with a gangbanger
actually,
is true and on
it
video.
just goes to show you
You
don't-
running a $7,000
this goes-
bar tab at the lobby bar
Director Patel,
has been filed by your own
this
office.
goes to show-
drink during the day. That's
Chairman-
you.
Mr.
This is
Chairman-
the ultimate example of hypocrisy.
Chairman-
I will not be tarnished by baseless allegations
let me
and
ask
fraudulent
questions.
statements from the media.
The fact that you mentioned that indicates you don't know what you are talking about. Now, here, Director
The only thing I
Patel-
know is you're the one drinking margaritas with felons.
Actually, that's a false statement, and I'm asking you about your statements.
I've answered that.
And I'm asking you about a particular report.
Okay, here is where it gets messy, and I want to be completely honest with you about what I think happened here, because this is not as simple as one side winning and one side losing. Van Hollen has the reports, Patel has the denials, and up to this point, it is credibility versus credibility. Patel saying unequivocally, categorically false is a strong denial, clear, specific, on the congressional record. That matters. If Patel is telling the truth, then the reporting is wrong, and he has now said so under oath. But then Patel makes a move that I think genuinely hurt him. Instead of staying on the denial, he swings. He brings up El Salvador, he brings up the margaritas, he brings up the bar tab, and the idea, the strategy, is that he is going to discredit Van Hollen by pointing to alcohol-connected behavior of his own. The problem is that the moment he does that, he has just made alcohol-connected behavior the centerpiece of his defense, and Van Hollen, to his credit, sees it immediately. Goes to show you drink during the day. It is fast, it is clean, and it lands. Now, I want to be fair here. Van Hollen's El Salvador trip, which Patel is referencing, was a fact-finding mission to a detention facility. You can disagree with the optics, but the comparison Patel is drawing between a congressional oversight visit and allegations that the director of the FBI was unreachable on duty, those are not the same thing, and Patel needed them to be. That is where his argument fell apart. The next part is where it gets stranger, because Van Hollen is not done.
And
It's not a
your
report.
testimony. So let me ask you this. Are you willing to take the test, it's called the audit test, that members of our active duty military and others take to determine whether they have a drinking problem?
I'll take any test you're willing to take.
I will take it, Director Patel. I'll take it. You ready to take it?
Let's go.
Yes or no?
Let's go. Side
I'll
by
take
side.
it. I'll take it. All right. I think that the fact that you're so, have you ordered polygraph tests of members of your team to determine how that story came about?
The FBI conducts polygraph tests all the time.
No. Have you ordered polygraph tests for members of your team to determine who was the source of the stories that I'm asking you about?
I don't order any polygraph tests. There's an internal inspection review process for any and all leaks, especially of baseless information at the FBI that's been in place for the last 30 years. Those processes are followed by career intelligence and agents on the ground.
So I'll take that as a yes, since you said that these were unauthorized disclosures. I have another round of questioning regarding your firing people who were important to gathering intelligence with respect to Iran, but I'll wait for my second round. Thank you,
thing.
Chairman.
All right, here we are, and I want to walk you through this last piece beat by beat because there are actually two separate moments here, and both of them matter. The first is the audit test challenge. Van Hollen asks Patel directly whether he is willing to take what he calls the audit test, a standardized assessment used by the military and medical professionals to evaluate whether someone has a clinically significant relationship with alcohol. That is not a gotcha. That is a real diagnostic tool. And Patel's answer is not yes, and it is not no, it is "I'll take any test you're willing to take," which sounds like a yes until Van Hollen immediately says, "I will take it," and offers to go side by side. And then Patel says, "Let's go." Now, I want you to just sit in that for 1 second. The director of the Federal Bureau of Investigation, the agency responsible for counterterrorism, national security, investigating foreign spies, protecting elections, has just agreed on camera in a Senate hearing to take an alcohol screening test alongside a sitting senator as some kind of mutual challenge. That is not a sign that someone feels comfortable in the seat they are in. That is someone under pressure reaching for anything that looks like a countermove. And then comes the polygraph exchange, which I think is actually the most revealing part of this entire segment. Van Hollen asks whether Patel has ordered polygraph tests for members of his team to determine who leaked the stories about him. Patel says he does not order polygraph tests, then pivots to describing how the FBI's internal inspection review process handles unauthorized disclosures, which is, as far as I can tell, a description of how leaks get investigated. Van Hollen reads that exactly the way most people watching at home will read it, as a yes. Here is my honest read of the whole thing. I think Patel came in knowing this question was coming and had a strategy. Deny everything, call it fraudulent media, and try to discredit the messenger. That is not an unusual approach. A lot of people in Washington have survived worse using exactly that playbook. The problem is that Patel's counterattack in the middle of clip 2, the El Salvador reference, introduced the very behavior he was denying into his own defense. You cannot say these allegations are completely false and also say, well, what about your margaritas in the same breath without making the conversation about alcohol worse for yourself, not better. What does this actually mean for the rest of us? Here's the thing. The FBI director has a specific function in this country that most people never think about until something goes wrong. They are the person who gets called when a mass shooting is being investigated, when a foreign intelligence officer infiltrates a federal agency, when someone is planning a domestic terror attack. The director needs to be reachable. The director needs to be trusted by the workforce. And right now, we have a sitting director whose response to credibility questions is to challenge a senator to a drinking test on live television, and whose own workforce has reportedly raised concerns serious enough that reporters at major outlets have written about them. I do not know whether the specific allegations are true. Patel denied them under oath. That is the record. But what I can tell you is that nothing about the way this exchange went, not the counterattack, not the let's do, not the polygraph dodge, looked like a man who was completely comfortable with the facts. And if you run the most powerful investigative agency in the United States, that is a problem, whether the stories are true or not. So here is your comment question for this one. Straight yes or no, and I want you to defend it. If those reports about Kash Patel's conduct are credibly documented enough for him to file a defamation lawsuit over them, should Congress be demanding an independent inspector general review of his leadership? Yes or no?